event coordinator, along with supervisors and frontline members, did not directly engage with those that were damaging the statues. We did not want to further incite the crowd that had gathered. Now, going forward, we will, in fact, be investigating this to determine who was involved in this.
The dialogue we're seeing right now is important because it's opening the door to address that situation where those statues represent oppression for our people.
I still can't understand what that was about because my grandfather never taught his family to be like we believe in putting Manitoba first, so that's respect first, and then Zagatewin, love. And I believe in forgiveness.
Lincoln J for Rebel News here in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Now, if you're unaware, just last week on Canada Day, there was 2 statues taken down here in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Right here where I am on the grounds of the legislature, Queen Victoria was toppled right behind me. And just a 5 minutes walk from here at the government house, a statue of Queen Elizabeth II was also taken down on the same day. A protest was taking place, a protest march called the Every Child Matters Walk. Now, this is in regards to the recent news about the residential schools here in Canada. As you can see here, both the statues of Queen Elizabeth II and Queen Victoria are now nowhere to be found. What we do know is that the head of Queen Victoria's statue was thrown into the Red River, where it was later found by someone passing by on a kayak. Various media outlets revealed that there were in fact no arrests made to anyone involved with the tearing down of the statues. A 51-year-old man was arrested and charged with mischief and assault shortly after the statue of Queen Victoria was torn down, but this is supposedly unrelated to the incident. Approximately a day later, the Winnipeg police put out a press release regarding the incident, stating that they were launching an investigation. Check it out.
These events were intended to be peaceful demonstrations of solidarity, and the vast majority of the people who attended were peaceful. A small number of people determined to damage property on the grounds. Now, I can tell you that when that occurred, the majority of the assembled people at the legislative began to leave the site. Our event coordinator, along with supervisors and frontline members, did not directly engage with those that were damaging the statues. We did not want to further incite the crowd that had gathered. Now, going forward, we will, in fact, be investigating this to determine who was involved in this. And it should come as no surprise. Everyone knows that the legislative grounds have multiple security cameras, so we'll be reviewing that and determining an investigation. I also want to make it clear that I have heard from many Indigenous leaders in the community. They do not condone the actions of that small number of people.
In order to present this report, I had to travel from Toronto to Winnipeg, which includes a fair amount of expenses. From the flight, the hotel, the car rental, it works out to around $1,500 all economy class. Now, unlike the mainstream media, we don't receive a cent of government funding. If you can, please go to rebelfieldreports.com and please consider making a donation. Enjoy the video, guys. As I was making my way around the grounds of the legislature, I noticed an encampment had been set up roughly 200 yards from the incident. I was able to speak with a couple people from the group and gathered a bit more information on what happened that day. Take a look. So can you kind of describe to me what happened that day? There was 2 groups here. I believe your group wasn't involved with the tearing down of the statue at all. What happened?
So us here, we started camp here on the 25th of June as a way to provide an healing space for our communities. Every time there's a number released about the amount of children found in residential school grounds. So we'll be here providing healing and support for people that needs it until all residential school grounds are searched. On July 1st, there were many organization happening around Cancel Canada Day. And I think it was 3 different groups that create and out of those 3 different groups, there was crowds, right? There was a lot of people in the city, and they all converted to the legislative building at the front steps.
How do you feel overall about the statue being torn down? What are your overall thoughts on it?
I got a big headache when all the crowd came. I was part of the crowd back on Portage and Main only because I was supporting my sister-in-law and missing and murdered women. That walk. I had no idea that whoever else was part of that. So I broke off with my group and came back here when I realized this thing was much more bigger. It was bigger than what I had initially thought. I thought it was a murdered and missing women's walk.
And of what I hear, we had elders that were saying to us that they were speakers there and everything. When the first statue fell, I was actually just coming back to camp, and by the time I got back here, I saw the statue that's fallen.
The people that tore down the statue, are they a part of the same group, or were they different? One of the people on the grounds told me that they were part of a different group. Can you comment on that at all?
Yeah, of course. Those were two different organizations. So, and I believe that the other organization, basically, that the crowd just went and did the justice they wanted. But here, how we do this is that we go back to ceremony and we try to asserting your ceremony here. So we've been more a space of healing on this side.
The next morning, I got up because I was fasting, and I went next door here to see what had happened. And I took sage and I went and I smudged the whole area because I don't agree with people doing things in anger.
Just to clarify, they weren't directly involved in your group, and the name of your group is?
So we call it the Sacred Fire, Bring Your Children Home. Yeah, it's a community endeavor, so we're inviting all the community to come and learn, heal, and grow together. What happened on the 1st of July, I'm not surprised. I think it shows it's a testimony of our youth strength, and it's also a testimony of the cowardness of this government to act in proper ways.
Do you have any idea where the statue is right now? I know that the head was severed and found in the river. Do you know? So did people from the legislature come and get the statue? Was it?
Oh yeah, they towed it. They told it. We saw it. We're here 24/7 us for a Sacred Fire, so we got to see the people coming in with their big truck and towing the queens.
So it was people from the legislature that actually came in and cleaned it up?
I believe so, but I think there was police officers all around too that were investigating.
Has anyone from the legislature here, any kind of security, police, have they come and approached you guys, asked you guys to leave? What's the situation like?
Police is not welcome on the camp because if they want to come, we don't want them to be paid. We're tired of having murderer being paid to come and service us. So if they want to come on the land here, they have to be without uniform and without weapon.
Like, how many people roughly did it take to pull down the statue? Were they using ropes? Like, can you just kind of describe that scene for me?
I couldn't say because I missed the statue falling, but I would say it was a crowd effort. It was a big community effort.
I still can't understand what that was about because my grandfather never taught his family to be like we believe in putting Manitoba first, so that's respect first, and then Zagatewin, love. And I believe in forgiveness.
Various media outlets reported that there was one person that was arrested.
So yeah, I've actually talked with some of the people that were organizing the walk, and they've shared with me that he was being conflictual with them, but that they did not agree with the police being present, and the police reacted and interfered and tased him and put him to the ground.
Overall, is the community here, would you guys say that you're in support of the tearing down of the statues? If it was in your hands, would you have the statue still up there, or do you think that it was the right move to tear it down?
So I don't think it's about the statue at all, and I think that's what people misunderstand. I think I'm in full support of my people and of their right to heal, of their right to claim justice, of their right to vent in any way that they feel entitled to. And when you're dealing with an oppressive system of violence that is actually actively robbing children from their families, I won't say that a statue is important. And I think that if people are focused on the statue, well, unfortunately, they're missing the point.
Is there anyone benefiting from the destruction of the property, from it being taken down? What does it do for you guys?
For us as an alien village, it puts us in a very uncomfortable situation with the legislative building, and also with the fact that we're still unfortunately subject to that oppressive system, and when the statue was toppled, we had to protect the sacred fire, and to protect our village, because it was announced on the radio that the police officers will come after the women and the children, and so it's putting ourselves kind of in a hot spot. But what I saw that day was beautiful in a lot of ways. I saw youth that are still living in oppression, claiming back their power.
Do you think that this has made non-Indigenous Canadians more likely to reconcile with the past, or do you think in their eyes, they might see it as more conflict?
I think that if they see it as more conflict, there's the issue of how much is a statue worth more than the safety of a child? And I think that the dialogue we're seeing right now is important, because it's opening the door to address that situation where those statues represent oppression for our people. They represent the genocide that's actually going on still on our land. Like, if you look at me, I'm wearing right now Justice for A-Shots, who's a 16-year-old that got shot and killed by the Winnipeg Police Services about a year and a half ago.
Do you think that white people like myself, whatever their race, ethnicity may be, do you think that they are in any way guilty of what was done 50 to 100 years ago? Where should they stand in all of this?
So I think that one of the misconception is that are you really certain that there was not white people in that crowd? It's not only Indigenous people that stand in solidarity in that walk. It was people from all culture. And when it's portrayed as a conflict from the Indigenous community, we forget to acknowledge that we are in a culture of white supremacy. And if that white supremacy was not there, we would not be struggling that much. So I see allies, I see white allies everywhere that are standing in solidarity with us in many of ways. I also see white allies that are still struggling to find their place in there. And I also see white allies white people that are not informed, that are ignorant, and that think that their pain is more central to is more important than their healing of our communities. And I think that's unfortunate, but what I think we miss is that those structures also oppress you as white people.
After spending a couple days at the legislature, at the scene of the crime, I can't help but to think, why does the Manitoba government allow one side of protesters with one narrative to freely exercise their right to protest, while on the other side you have politicians who are arrested for organizing rallies, just like the rally that happened on Canada Day? You have pastors who have search warrants out for them for organizing church services. So I thought I'd test my luck inside the legislature and see if I could find out any more information. Check it out. Is there anyone from media relations that I can speak with?
Unfortunately, the building's closed right now. What are you looking for, man?
So basically, I'm inquiring about the protest that took place on Canada Day. So I believe that there was 2 statues torn down. Yeah. Correct? So my inquiry is that how come on one side of the fence you have politicians being arrested for organizing rallies like this? You have pastors who have search warrants out. But then on the other side, they're just allowed to protest freely. Do you have any comment for that?
Sorry, no, we're not going to be commenting on that. If you'd like a phone number where you can inquire further.
At the end of the day, it doesn't matter who you are. I believe that every human being should have the right to protest. What I don't believe is that the government should be picking and choosing who has the right to protest depending on the narrative. My heart goes out to all the forgotten victims of the residential schools in Canada. But tearing down statues and vandalizing property just isn't the answer. Instead of focusing on the past, we should be focusing on the present and the people in power now and the broken promises that they're handing out. For Rebel News, I'm Lincoln J. Thanks for watching, guys. When we heard the news, we knew we had to come collect the facts for ourselves. Now, a trip from Toronto to Winnipeg like this isn't exactly cheap. When you factor in the flight, the hotel, the car rental, all economy class, it works out to be around $1,500. So if you want to see more investigative reports like this, please go to rebelfieldreports.com and please consider making a donation. Thank you, guys.